about Instagram engagement. It has a lot to do with post frequency and timing. I've looked up a couple studies here and finds that most brands post at least once a day, but there's no correlation between frequency and engagement. The best time of day tends to be Mondays and Thursdays have the most engagements between 8 or 9 a.m. Eastern. I guess you'd have to, if you're a Western business, you'd have to do that on Pacific Standard Time. But I still think it's a good idea to test at different times. One time I was doing some posts for a recovery center and just tested doing them at 3 a.m. And it turned out that I got a lot of people on their commute in New York. And so we got a lot of likes and follows. It didn't do a lot for business though, because we're California based, but it did increase likes and follows. Um, for scheduling, I'd use a tool like Buffer. I use that every day. It's great. It allows you to schedule a post and it'll do it for you. And you can do all of your posts for like a month and just let them run. It's really great. And then remember the pillar content model that we talked about in prior classes, Gary Vee's content model. That works really well for Instagram and keeps you in posts basically and allows you to get people to engage with you that way because you've got plenty of content. When we look at growth engagement a little more, let's take a look at what companies may do. You can try user generated content. You can ask your users for pictures and content, and you could put it up and give them reference and props for doing it. Studies have shown that if you include faces in your content, that works really well. You get 38% more likes and 32% more comments. I thought that was a really interesting study, and it generally goes with what I have learned. Instagram ads is a great way to reach out and allows people to find out about you that might not see you through friends of friends. And then finally, hashtag usage. We're going to focus on that next, but hashtag usage is important. You don't need to use too many of them, but if you carefully use them and don't make it part of your copy, really, you throw it down the page a little bit, it works really well and allows people to find you if they are searching via hashtag. So let's take a look at that. Hashtags tend to be about engagement. Top posts or tend to help engagement, I should say. Top post areas display the most engaged recent pictures on the hashtag feed. So when you are using hashtags and your posts are engaging, you're going to show up on top. And you don't have to have millions either. If you have smaller follows or likes around your post, but you have a lot of engagement, it could still show up near the top of that page, or that hashtag page. That's when you go to Explore and you type in hashtag BMW, which is an example I have coming up. It's hard to break into top hashtags. If you are someone into clothing and fashion, don't try to go for hashtag fashion. I mean, unless you are unless you have a movie star modeling your clothes. I mean, it's just really hard to break into that area. But when you go into a sub niche category, we're going to talk about this in a minute, you have much better chance of getting there, right? So there's no more than 30 hashtags that you can use per post. These days, I don't see people using 30 hashtags very often. You can try that at least at first to try to get some traction, but I think just using the first few that would matter the most is a good way to do it. So if we take a look in a case study of like BMW, and if I type in hashtag BMW, we can see what kind of posts show up. Now, here you can see that the person, both of them used hashtags pretty close to the description copy and did really well. And basically they have really good pictures as well, and that's going to make a difference. But they carefully did the correct hashtags here, and they must have done some research to see what hashtags were working on hashtag BMW. And you can also use tools like hashtags for likes, which give you the volume of hashtags that are used, and you can start choosing the most popular. You want to make sure that the hashtags still have something to do with your product or service, right? So most of these are directly related to BMWs, right? You're not going to see something that's like gasoline because it's a car, because that's not going to do it. BMW related hashtags with M4, for instance, a type of BMW is going to be much more important than hashtag top speed, or I don't know what else, but something that has more to do with cars than it does with BMWs. You need to be really, really specific on that. If we try to categorize hashtags, we'd probably take a look at this, right? They're the viral kind of hashtags that get like a billion posts, and they're pretty amazing. Usually, this is luck. I mean, you happen to have content that people are interested in. People may not even realize it. You just made the Bernie meme, and everybody's running with it, and yours was the first, so you get tons of posts or get tons of likes. And that's not always going to happen, right? Um, Rarely, in fact. You've got trending, which is usually event related. Um, Recently, we had the Biden inauguration. Perhaps hashtags around that might have trended for a while. If there's a big holiday coming up, you might be trending along with that, and you might use some of those if they're relevant to your product. I want to look at niche and sub niche, though, as the most common everyday tactic and strategy to take a look at. So, if you're going to use hashtag luxury because you've got this beautiful hotel you're trying to promote and it's a really nice looking hotel, that's one thing and that's one area. But I'd call sub niche luxury homes or luxury hotels with a hashtag, because that would specify the word luxury a little more. And it still would probably have plenty of people that search for it. Location is also important. Here I have hashtag Santa Barbara. If you can get in the hashtag Santa Barbara feed and be one of the top posts, a lot of people are going to look at it. There are branded hashtags that you could do with, like, here my example is hashtag Nike. It might be hashtag in your company name, so all posts that you or anyone else ever does shows up in the same place. It's kind of a nice thing to do. So you want to make sure your stuff is there if that exists on Instagram right now. Emotion. That's one we might look past a lot. Hashtag sad, hashtag love food is even better because it's emotional, but it's more specific to food, for instance. So this niche sub niche idea is really important, whether you're talking about a topic, a location, or an emotion, or even some of these viral things or trending things. You might try to go a little step further to be a little more specific in your hashtag making. So there is an app for that, right? I just talked about hashtag for likes, hashtags for likes. It's a really good program. There's a few others out there. You want to review the top posts for hashtag BMW or whatever topic that you're trying to break into. See what other people are doing. I do this all the time when I'm starting a company's Instagram profile out. You want to look at the Instagram search page and see what comes up that's related, because it might have something to do with what you're doing. And then in the final selection, you want to weed out things that may not matter. You want to focus more on what's specific to you. And because you only have 30, no more than that, you really should probably be under 10 most of the time with hyper specific sub niche hashtags. You want to take out ones that don't matter or that aren't likely to get you anywhere, right? So here's some more examples. If travel is a niche, backpacker would be a sub niche. That's a really good example, right? So if you're a backpacker, it's a hashtag that does really well for people that are into backpacking, and it's going to do a lot better than hashtag travel. Emotion, beautiful world. That's another more specific one. It evokes emotion. It's not really a feeling, but it evokes emotion, right? And it's a hashtag that people use often enough. Again, location with Santa Barbara. Promotions, if you're doing a giveaway, you've got to do hashtag giveaway. People look at that all the time, and you're bound to get a lot of likes and follows that way. And then I always use hashtag sets depending on my content. So if I run a store and I have 3 different products and they are slightly different than each other, I might make specific hashtags that might have a couple that are similar all the way through, the branded ones, the ones about my industry, but I'm also going to have ones that are specific to that product. And I just keep a simple Google Doc with 3 different sets of hashtags of 10 to 30 of them ready to go. And then you might take a look at doing a social media calendar um, for Facebook as well, right? But you can do a calendar and have themes of the week or the month that you specifically post about and use the hashtags for to try to build your account. when you're trying to engage, it's also important for you to be commenting on other people's posts. It's something we forget. We don't take the time to do. But as you're sitting on the couch and you're on a commercial on TV, comment on someone's posts. Smash that like button, but also try to engage people in the conversation if you can, if it's appropriate. They say that it's good to unfollow people that aren't active in your feed because it's kind of a waste of space in a way. So it's good to weed out your follower list occasionally and maybe start unfollowing people. I see this strategy a lot with liking, where you do the 1-2 punch, where someone will come in, they'll they'll like a couple photos that I've done and follow me in hopes that I come back and follow them. Now, if they are related to my industry, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Or if they live in Santa Barbara, because I am a hyper geographical, local business, I'll go ahead and like them back. But if it's someone who's just trying to get likes and follows for theirs that doesn't offer me anything, I don't really do it. But it's something to look out for that you might do. If you have a local business, do that with local people, right? And maybe they'll find out about you. And then the biggest thing is actually focusing on quality content. That's really important. And that's it for this section. And we'll go into metrics with Instagram next.